You guys know I teach an in-depth class on that. And one of the very first things you're supposed to schedule are your times off, your vacations.
Let me just say again.
If you're following the model correctly, here is what you're actually scheduling. A week off every single quarter. And in the months that don't have a week off, a long weekend in those months. So in essence, you're taking vacation every single month in the entire year. So many of us go into life and think, oh, I'll take a vacation when I have the money, or I'll take a vacation when I have the time, right? And we know, especially in the real estate business, what happens to your business the week before a vacation?
You're busy.
It's really busy.
Right? It gets really busy, it gets crazy, you get an intentional, life gets focused. So if you want more business, you actually need to plan more vacations, times off. Now, it doesn't mean getting into all the details. You know, in November, I'm going to take a 4-day to Raleigh, North Carolina. At least get it on there. In November, this weekend, I'm taking off. And just have that plan. And by the way, this plan ties right into our content.
Oh, geez.
The greatest salesman in the world, right? Because this is a plan for how to live your life. This is a plan for how to think bigger. And so, guys, we are, if my math is correctly, chapters 16 and 17. They are, I will act now. Wow. How much tied together. And finally, the prayer. The asking for help. So coming to you guys, and Carrie, I heard you chirp in. Would love to know your takeaways on these two chapters, whichever one you want to go with. Act now and speak up.
One thing that I have enjoyed through the scrolls is that he continuously repeats is like, I will act now. He repeats like several times each one, which is helpful for habits and getting that to stick in your head, right?
Yep.
So generally speaking, I do like that. And I've highlighted so much. A hunger for success, I thirst for happiness and peace of mind. Lest I act, I will perish in life to failure, misery, and sleepless nights. So, I mean, success will not wait. If I delay, she will become brothed to another and lost me forever. So just, act, not procrastinate, act now, all the like you just said, focus. If you did, all that stuff, stay focused and get it done now. And, success will, reward you, I guess. All that good stuff. There's more.
I was having an amazing conversation earlier today, coaching conversation with one of our fellow agents. And I mean, this really was the essence of our conversation. Act now. They're having some struggles. They're having some challenges. Real estate hasn't been serving them. And I suspect for all of you, when it comes to the lead domino, the top of the funnel of finding new business, it hasn't been acted as now up until today. Or maybe even up until 2025, because I know some of you are plugging in, you're leaning into the activities. And yet, the words in here, if you just take the action, the magic will happen. I mean, the challenge I put forth to this individual is they have nothing pending at this moment. Go all day, every day, just for the next 7 days in lead generation and watch what happens. Treat it like a full-time job, which, by the way, it is. You guys have all applied for a full-time job of being in real estate or being in lending or being in title, whatever you are. And a lot of times as a 1099, we don't treat it that way. We don't act now. Client, and then I see shares up as well. What do you guys have?
Well, I just wanted to add to what you were saying. I wrote down to multiply value, multiply action. when I read that, I was like, man, I can't get away from this Coach Russ guy, man. I'm telling you, he's just kind of like all over the place, man. And and you guys probably covered this one. Procrastination comes from a fear mindset. That for me is real. What do we fear? What are we scared of? I tell you, what you are scared of and what you are fearful of, you probably have not accomplished yet. It is a direct correlation. Fear and procrastination, those two things, I'm finding out between that's the chasm that has to be crossed. And as long as you have fear on one end and you have procrastination on the other, you will never jump across that chasm.
So let's actually read those words into the room that you started with. Only action determines my value in the marketplace. And to multiply my value, I will multiply my actions. And then he talks about working when there's failure and working when there's procrastination, taking action, because when the lion is hungry, he eats. When the eagle has thirst, she drinks. Lest they act, both will perish. I hunger for success. I thirst for happiness and peace of mind. Lest I act, I will perish in a life of failure, misery, and sleepless nights. I will command and I will obey my own command. I will act now. Man, imagine, guys, you're struggling right now and you go through the mindset of, you know what? I'm going to go on a different journey. I'm going to quit this. When we all know, we're already seeing it, the 2025 market's kicking off. And it's strong. People are placed into escrow. There's a lot of action and activity, and it's only the flipping 9th. I want you guys to all get your unfair share. Sherry, you're up, and then Celeste.
Well, I'm in action as well. Action alone is the tinder, and he goes into what it ignites. So, it's hard to light a big, massive log with nothing smaller, the tinder, the smaller pieces. And then he starts talking about, I will repeat, I will act now, I will act now, I will act now. I will repeat these words again and again and again. And the outcome is with these words, I can condition my mind. And it just takes me back to the whole point of this book and the scrolls is to spend 30 days in each principle or each scroll until it becomes part of you. So that is, even if there is no action taken, and the first is to learn the scrolls, each and every day there is action we need to take because, again, the market's heating up again, at least in our area. So I feel like it's the principle of the book. Learn the scrolls, eat the scroll, in scripture, when it talked about eating the scroll, it said it was bitter in his stomach and became alive. So that's what we're doing. It's like the principle of this is right out of scripture.
So you're talking about total consumption. When I'm kind of like eating breakfast as I'm going through this, but I sometimes I'm eating something and I may not like it, but it's good for me. I did not like broccoli when I was a kid. It's good for me. Neither did I like okra, but it was good for me. And those are the things. When I look at my body now, I'm really thankful to my parents because they fed me good food. I am now healthy because of that. Same thing applies.
Well, the fun part for me with that, Klein, is the good food, as Shara was also putting in of these scrolls, and the good drink of the prayer. Love to know what you guys are pulling away from those two. Celeste, you are on.
This specific chapter really haunts me because I am this person, the person who fears action, not because I am not able, but because the flip of this, and this is one of my favorite poems, and I'm going to bastardize it, so forgive me. But we talk about that this idea of fear of action. We are not afraid of failure. We're afraid that we are more awesome beyond measure. So, in other words, our vision of who we are gets in the way. We think, oh, I'm not worthy, so therefore I won't try. But the opposite of that is, if you try, just imagine the possibilities of where you will be, where you will go, what you will. And again, I'm not going to say that the have is the goal, but it is the goal eventually, because you will achieve. You're going to have achievement, not necessarily things, but you'll have the achievement of at least doing, getting out there. And the bad word being the word try. If you don't act, you will never see the vision of what God made you to be. And I'm not a religious person, guys, but I really do believe in this, and this scroll speaks to me.
So let's go to our deepest fear, your poem, because it's one that Don Hobbs has memorized and has worked on me and others. And Marianne Williamson was actually the original writer, though Nelson Mandela's been credited. It was in Coach Carter and other movies. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Those of you sitting on the fence, Celeste, like you sometimes, you showing up for conversation time 2 to 5 every single day and being a leader in that space, doing the activity, that's going to inspire others to do the same. For some of you that are up against this fear wall and not believing in yourself right now, not thinking you can because 2024 was so brutal on so many of us, now's the time to just take this scroll and act now. Today's the day.
I love this. I love this because it's such a positive thing to do. Just act. Make the phone call. Call for the meeting. Get the appointment. The person who you're speaking to has no idea how awesome and how grateful they'll be because you are there. You're showing up.
Absolutely.
You guys impact everybody. Carrie, you too. Your mic's hot. What do you got?
I just
move back to you.
Oh, it's not necessarily a takeaway, but while we're sitting here thinking about it, I was thinking that maybe I would take the first line from each scroll, write it down, and tape it to my dashboard in my car. Or this one, the faith one, maybe that, because that has a lot of different ones. Like it says, to help me, to guide me, to bathe me in, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe one of those two things I'm going to do. I haven't decided which one yet.
Well,
sounds like a plan to me. Just have action. Do something.
In my car so much. So.
I'm going to give you one other because I showed it earlier. I have alarms that are every one of the scroll bullet points. So that alarm at 6:15, when I open it to turn it off, I have to grab my glasses now, and I can read it. Today, I will begin a new life. I will form good habits and become their slave. I will greet this day with love in my heart. I will persist until I succeed. I am nature's greatest miracle. I will live this day as if it is my last. I will be the master of my emotions. I will laugh at the world. I will multiply my value by 100. I will act now.
I absolutely love that. That was perfect.
Okay, that way you can follow it. Clint, floor is yours, buddy.
Hey, just want to say, this thing about fear, guess what? When you have fear, the other person that you have the fear of calling, that making that call, you do understand that most times they have no idea about that. They, they, they don't know that you're scared. They have no idea. And so this fear thing, and I'm talking to myself now, this fear thing, it's internal. They have no idea that you're scared crapless of calling.
Yeah.
They're on the other end receiving whatever it is that you give out.
Hey,
So I
Clint,
just thought that
can I
was
jump
funny.
in
I
real
thought
quick?
about that. Sure. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I was driving to the gym this morning, and this is what hit me. It's 26, 27 degrees out. The water's freezing, and you see the beautiful swans and the ducks just gliding across the water, and they look so demure and pristine. But underneath the water that you can't see, man, they're just pedaling, dude. They're pedaling. And you can't tell from here that they're working their ass off just to get across the frigid cold water. But they just look perfect. That's us. I mean, what they can't see, man, we're running, we're trying to get this addendum over here and trying to keep everybody on task and pulling our hair out. But when we're on the phone or when we're up front and center, we just look prim, proper, and maintained and professional.
You are so right. I remember I had a customer one time. She wanted to, I think, renegotiate my commission. Here's what she said. This is not hard for you. This is something that was real simple for you. It just took you a couple hours. And I said, you have no idea, but I appreciate that what you've said is what I aim to show you, that there is serenity all around. So there's a downside to that, but I see you, man. And even when we're talking to other professionals, we want to, talk to a attorney. Oh, it's $500 an hour. What? And they're like, well, you didn't see the sleepless nights.
Well, here's the fun part, by the way, Josh, and thank you for bringing this in the room, because might any and all of you get someone who wishes to negotiate your commission? What a great analogy Josh has given you. Man, it looks smooth and easy, right? Like a duck floating across a pond. What's happening underneath that duck? That's a great analogy, Josh, that everybody can just tie into. And I can't wait to type it up a little cleaner and add it to the objection handlers. Beautiful. All right, guys. I've heard a lot about act now. I haven't heard a lot about asking for help. The next scroll. What do you guys have?
Well, that's why I reached out to you this morning, because I'm struggling with, I need help. I mean, and so that's exactly the reason at 7:00 this morning I called you and said, man, I got to figure this out better for 2025. So it is okay you are not showing a weakness, in my opinion, when you ask for assistance.
Josh is actually following the model correctly. He is lead generating like a mad fool, building a ton of business to where now he has chaos in his business and his life. And we are going to implement the right systems and the right leverage for him to deal with his type of chaos. So many people get worried about, oh my gosh, I need to know how to do everything. I need to know how to do each piece of real estate before I get going, because if I get going, I won't be able to do it. And that's backwards. I love being a mentor at EXP because I get people calling me, okay, Russ, I need to go through the contract. I really like that. And how many buyers do you have right now? None. How many sellers do you have right now? None. Great. We're not going to talk about that. Go find business. And they'll call 2-3 days later. Hey, Russ, I need to go through SkySlope and understand how that works. I'll go, oh, great. How many buyers do you have? None. How many sellers do you have? None. We don't need to worry about SkySlope. You go get the business, and then we can build the systems and processes for you and help you implement them. Quick. Josh, love you, brother, because you leaned into that right out of the gate. He literally got his license on like a Wednesday. Thursday, we're talking in the morning about lead gen. He just starts making calls and doing the work. And Friday, he's doing more, and he calls me Friday, I got a listing presentation. So Saturday, we spent 2-3 hours in the morning going through the listing presentation because that's when he finally needed it, and he could head off and go deliver it. Every time he's creating a need, then getting the help and learning how to do it. Guys, become really needy. I would love that. What else you have?
I'll just be super vulnerable. I am really struggling these days with the void. So here it says the guy in the faith part, the guidance I seek may come, or the guidance I seek may not come, but are not both these an answer? I just can't. Aren't both these the answer? So then it says also help me remain humble, and then the other part that I go for is confront me with fears that will temper my spirit. So for me, the void is my fear, I guess, and so I'm having issues with the non-answer, I guess. So I'm dealing with that. So my faith is I definitely need to be meditating and praying more.
Well,
For sure.
question for you, Carrie, just so I understand what you're saying. This is for everybody. You are seeking help from the universe. You're asking for help and guidance,
Yes.
and you're not feeling like you're getting it.
Yes. I guess so. Yeah, because there's void, because there's not an answer. Yes, and it drives me absolutely crazy and makes me feel incredibly insecure. And
Can you
I
give
don't feel
me
good with
a particular, real specific, since we're being vulnerable here, item where you're asking for guidance and not getting it? Can you distill that down to an item? Because a lot of times we act or we think we're not getting, and yet if we get down to a specific item, like a great example, how do I save this relationship?
right.
And,
But then
and you get no guidance on that. That very well may be telling you that that's a relationship that needs to be less involved in your life.
that's what I'm learning.
There's a great one. So I'm just throwing that out there as an example. And yet I just want to challenge all of you as you're hitting the low points, because it happened a lot in 2024. It's great timing for this again. You're hitting that low point. You're asking for guidance. You're not feeling you're getting it. First, I would analyze and check in. Am I really getting it, not listening? You know, a lot of times I pick up the phone and call people because their name, their voice, their face has crossed my world, just in my head, in my sleep, whatever. Anytime I think about someone, I believe that is my higher power telling me to reach out to them, and the name gets written in my journal. I reached out to 2 this morning. Boom, boom. And then I had like a 20-minute conversation with the third. So measure, check in, see if maybe it's not that you're not getting the answer, you're just not getting an answer you like. And then 2, check around and see if other people are attempting to help you, because maybe the higher powers bring in other resources you're not leaning into. And then finally, third, if those boxes are totally clear, then look at what the other alternatives are.
Right.
Because maybe that's why there's no answer, because it's time to go do an alternative. Sound fair?
Fair.
Awesome. Who else?
I'll go, Coach.
I love it, Caesar. Great to see you, brother.
Great to see you guys as well. I wanted to comment a couple things. One, when Klein said about, and I think someone else mentioned about being fearful before calling, we've talked about this before. Could that be that we're excited? Could it be, I know from Walter Payton, right before every game, he would puke and he would throw up because there was like some type of excitement. And after that, and after he said after his first hit, it was like, okay, it's on, I'm ready to go. And especially when we get on a phone call, it is scary / exciting right before you're in a phone call. But once you get in a conversation, like, oh, this was pretty simple and pretty easy. It's just about getting through it. The other point I wanted to hit that I re-listened to it this morning was when it was like, live your day as if it was your last. Like if you were your last day to see your spouse, last day to see your child, it completely changed your mindset of actually, let's not worry about X, Y, and Z of deals and things, especially when we're home. And it's hard, I think, challenging for some of us if we are in the home environment. So I just wanted to bring those points home. Just because I hit home again, it's like, just live your day like it's your last, because you really don't know if today is your last day or not. And lastly, just to bring home that point with Tupac, for example, like he would record multiple songs and multiple songs a day. Just he's like, edit it later, whatever. Just get in there, get your verse in, and just get it. And it's just about the repetitive and getting all these verses out. As same as our phone calls or videos or whatever our key may be, just get a lot of it out. And eventually, with the quantity is how you get better, not just by making one great phone call. So just wanted to give that to you guys, and thank you for the time.
You got it, Caesar, and thank you for that, because quantity over quality out of the gate always. And we preach that in here, and I'm glad you're anchoring that. And then fear keeps coming up.
Isn't Caesar awesome?
What you guys have been doing to this point is misinterpreting it. It does not mean forget everything and run, which I keep seeing people doing.
Russ,
it's false evidence appearing real. And so the other piece I want to put out there on this, and then Celeste, I'm going to come to you, and then Justin. Okay. Anxiety and excitement. There is no physiological difference between those two states. Your body, your heart rate, your vascularity is all matching up in either one of those. It's just the label you're putting on it. Are you in a place of fear, of scarcity, or are you in a place of excitement and opportunity? That's all up here. The body's doing the same thing either way. Celeste.
So I just want to give credit to the group that we're here with. And I want to add, I believe very clearly we are all meant to be here together. And I listened to Caesar, I listened to Shara, I listened to Nafritha, and I'm calling out names. I could name every single person in this room, that they're giving of their mindset and they're sharing a collective for all of us to do the one thing we need to do, which is win the day, to show up, being here, to learn how to do our business better, or just do it. I am just so grateful for every single one of you guys. And I felt it when I heard Caesar. So I just had to say it.
Well, thank you for that, Celeste. And